Hello and welcome to this week's Coffee Break Catch Up. Now, I am hoping that we have got no sound problems because just before we got started there, we seem to have a sound problem, but I'm hoping that everything is going correctly and that you're able to hear me okay. Welcome to another Coffee Break Catch Up. This week we are I'm at home today, not in the Coffee Break studio in Glasgow, but working from home today, so I thought I'd jump on the mic and do a coffee break catch up here from home. Let us know where you're watching. We are live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, on various Facebook pages from Coffee Break, French, Spanish, Italian and languages, I think. It would be good to know where you're viewing from and what language you're learning. We've got an interesting talking point coming up a bit later in the show, and that's all about teachers, because this weekend there's a special worldwide day. And I'll tell you a little more about that a bit later. But for now, let's look at our coffee break news for the week. So here we come. So to begin with, let us look at our latest episodes that we are working on. So first of all, coming to, let me see, I can double check this, that it works. Yep, we're going to go through Coffee Break News, we'll have our talking point, and of course we'll have our cultural roundup a bit later on. So our first news item this week, and that is our latest episode of the Coffee Break French magazine. We were heading to Cannes, the beautiful city or town in the south of France, where it's very well known for a particular festival, le Festival de Cannes. In fact, what we know as the Cannes Film Festival is just known in French as le Festival de Cannes. We don't actually need to say le Festival de Film de Cannes. They just know it as le Festival de Cannes. And the latest episode of the Coffee Break magazine, the French magazine, focused on le Festival de Cannes, and there is a great text there, and you can learn all about le Festival de Cannes in the latest episode. Moving on to another magazine, and that is our German magazine. We had a really interesting topic in episode 3 of our Coffee Break German magazine. That's all about the Trümmerfrauen. And the Trümmerfrauen were the women who, after the Second World War, rebuilt the cities from the rubbles. Trümmer means rubble or ruins, and the rubble women or the ruins women were the people who built up the cities after the war. So a fascinating period of German history. And the article in the Coffee Break German magazine this week featured these women, and it spoke about these women, telling about their lives and about the situation in Germany and in other parts of that of the world during, or after rather, the Second World War. So that's the Coffee Break German magazine. We also had an episode of our Coffee Break Italian magazine, which also focused on the past in a sense, because we headed to Matera in the Basilicata region of Italy, where there are some amazing sassi, the grottos, which have been converted nowadays into hotels and museums and so on. So if you'd like to find out about this love for the past, but also a passion for the future, you can find out about the World UNESCO Heritage Site that is Matera in Italy. So that's the Coffee Break Italian magazine this week too. Okay, so continuing our focus on all things musical, on Tuesdays, every Tuesday we publish the Tune for Tuesday. And the Tune for Tuesday is an opportunity to combine your language learning with some music. So it's always good to have an inspiration for your language learning, and we feel that music is the perfect inspiration. So every Tuesday we publish our Tune for Tuesday feature, and this week we had a German one. It was the Wanderers Nachtlied, which is a Schubert song. So we're going to classical music this week and looking at Franz Schubert and the Wanderers Nachtlied, so the night song of the wanderer. A lovely piece of music, and it's very nice to have different styles of music in our Tune for Tuesday playlists. Now, on the Tune for Tuesday page, you'll be able to find the playlist both on Spotify and on YouTube. And we're building that out so that it gives you a taste of different types of music and different languages, of course. And there always are links to the lyrics of those songs on the Tune for Tuesday page as well. So if you haven't yet checked out Tune for Tuesday, then do so very soon. And also, if you have any suggestions as to what we could include in the Tune for Tuesday, then make sure you let us know too. We look forward to that. Okay, moving on. We also, as usual, have been asking our question of the week. So, in this week's question is, si tu pouvais être un animal, lequel choisirais-tu et pourquoi? So, if you could be an animal, which would you choose and why? Our German question, was für ein Tier wärst du am liebsten und wieso? So, what kind of animal would you be and why? So, it's the same question. The Italian question is a little bit different. And there's a reason for this, which I'll explain in just a moment. Quale animale rappresenta di più la tua personalità e perché? So which animal represents your personality and why? I'll come back to why we changed the formation of that question in just a moment. The Spanish question, si fueras un animal, ¿cuál serías y por qué? So if you were an animal, what would you be and why? Now, what about that Italian question? Why is the formation slightly different? Well, it's because there is a special form that's needed to ask that question in Italian, and we've not covered it yet in Coffee Break Italian. It's the imperfect subjunctive, and we will be covering it at some point, perhaps even just as a piece of vocabulary. But that's why we reworded the question in Italian, and therefore hopefully you'll be able to provide your answer in that format if you're an Italian learner. So make sure you do that either on our Instagram page or on our individual Facebook pages for each language, because our team is there and has already answered the questions, so you'll be able to see Susie, Oliveira, Francesca and Sophia's answers to those questions over on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. We are continuing to publish our 1-minute courses, and we have now added our 1-minute Luxembourgish course to the YouTube channel. Now, I'll let you into a little secret. 1-minute Luxembourgish was actually the first 1-minute course we created. And it came long, long ago, back in 2007, and we were working with a Luxembourgish person doing some French work, and we thought, why not, let's do a Luxembourgish course. So we came up with the idea of 1-minute languages and made our 1-minute languages Luxembourgish course. So if you fancy learning a language that is spoken by the people of Luxembourg, it's one of the official languages there. Luxembourg, a very multilingual place, very small place, but very multilingual. Then you can have a look at the 1-minute Luxembourgish course on our Facebook page. No, not on Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, 1-minute Luxembourgish. Okay, let us continue and let's see what else we've got for you. Of course, this week is a big week for Coffee Break. It's also a big week for coffee, because on Tuesday it was the International Coffee Day on Tuesday there, and so we celebrated by launching our masterclass course on the Coffee Break Academy in both French and Spanish. So this is the masterclass class of October 2019, and the students of the masterclass are already working away on the content. Lesson 1 went out on Tuesday, and lesson 2 goes out tomorrow. So it's fantastic to see lots of students contributing to the discussions there, asking questions, introducing themselves, and of course posting their homework. And that is something that we really enjoy doing, working on the masterclass with a new group of students, and it's fantastic. Everyone's so enthusiastic posting their homework. Now, there is still 1 or 2 places. There are a few places left in the masterclass, but we must close resurrect. I'll try that again. I should explain. I hear every word I'm saying about 1.5 seconds after I say it, so it's a little bit difficult sometimes to concentrate. So we must close registration. We must close registration on Saturday or Sunday, depending on when we reach the limit. It may close before then, but it has to close. It must close on Sunday. By Sunday, we need to have completely finished the registration process, and the masterclass will be closed. So it's still possible to enter the masterclass. And I am seeing lots of comments here, and I'll just share Isabella's comment. Isabella saying, "Me encanta masterclass de español. Muchísimas gracias, Isabella." So Isabel's enjoying the masterclass. If you haven't considered the masterclass, there literally are only 2 days left to consider it, and it won't be opening up again until next year. So this would be the time to do it. We've got lots of questions. I'm going to post the questions comments. We'll post the comments in a moment. But let's just finish off our news for this week. So if I come back here. Yep, so just a reminder that registration is closing very soon. Now, last time we did a catch-up, I mentioned that I was going to be presenting at the Make Languages Your Business conference, and this happened yesterday at Strathclyde University in Glasgow, and it was fantastic to be speaking there on a panel of people involved in languages and business, although in that particular photo that was taken, I don't look particularly happy, but I can guarantee that I was very happy, and it was a very interesting conference. So if you run a business, or if you're involved in a business where there is a need for language learning, then the organisation who organised that conference, the Scotland's National Centre for Languages, have created a toolkit which will help a business identify their language needs and identify steps forward in order to fill those language needs. And it's not just for Scottish business, it's for businesses anywhere. So, as I say, if you're working in a business where there is a language need, or where you can see the opportunities that would be provided by learning different languages within the business, then there is a link. Where is the link? We'll put the link in the newsletter, obviously, but there's also a link on LinkedIn at the moment to that particular toolkit, to that resource. So that was yesterday, and staying with the conference theme and moving forward a week, I'm actually going to be in Boston next Thursday and Friday for the Sound Education Conference at Harvard. So I'm really looking forward to taking part in a panel there on languages teaching through podcasting at the Sound Education Conference. So if you're around, if you're in Boston, then why not come along to the conference? It's a fantastic conference all about the use of podcasts in education. And as I say, I'll be on the language learning panel along with people from Duolingo and the News in Slow Spanish, News in Slow French podcasts too. So if you're interested in that, come along, and I'd love to say hello. That would be in Boston, Massachusetts next Thursday and Friday. Okay, I think that is all our news for today. Yeah. Oh no, one other thing, and that is our work experience. Now, we've been very busy actually interviewing lots of young people from schools in central Scotland who are potentially going to be taking part in our work experience week, which is the 21st to the 25th, and hopefully when we come back and do our next catch-up, they will have some role to play in what we're doing, whether that be as part of our videos that we share or as part of the preparation of the catch-up. So we're looking forward to working with these students of languages, and we hope that they enjoy their experience with us. But that's it for this week's news. It's time to move on to our talking point. So we've got an interesting one for you this week. Okay, our talking point for this week is an interesting one because this coming Saturday, the 5th of October, is World Teacher Day. And this is organised by UNESCO. So it's a day where we think about the teachers that we've had in life and spare a thought for them, think about them and remember them, and perhaps share our enthusiasm about learning. So we thought we'd use that as our talking point this week on the Coffee Break Catch-Up. And I have a question for you. What are your memories of an inspirational teacher that you've had? I'd like you to post that in the comments. So wherever you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Facebook, post a comment about an inspirational teacher you've had. You don't need to name them. You can name them obviously if you would like. But tell us why they inspired you. Tell us why you found the way in which they taught useful and inspirational, and that you learned more about the subject because of that teacher. Because I think a teacher can make a difference. A teacher can change something that perhaps one person may make quite boring for you, and a really good teacher, an inspirational teacher, can make that potentially boring topic very interesting. And that I'm very lucky to have had some very inspirational teachers in my time. I would mention one in particular, and that is Mrs. MacArthur, or Miss McCourt, as she was when she taught me. And she was a wonderfully enthusiastic person who inspired me about wanting to learn French. And she just had so much knowledge and so many stories of her time in France. And we loved listening to her stories about all the aspects of French life that she had experienced. So a very inspirational person, Miss McCourt or Mrs. MacArthur. And also, I would mention at university, Dr. Peter Davis was one of my inspirational tutors there at university. He was fascinated by all things sociolinguistics and dialectology and everything about the dialects of French. And he was a wonderful person and very much inspired me to study that area of linguistics. So who are your inspirational teachers? I'm going to give you 60 seconds to let us know who your inspirational teachers are or were. Just mention a story about something or why they inspired you. What was it about that particular teacher that made you want to learn? And I think it's only right that we do take the time to honour those teachers today by giving them a mention here on the Coffee Break Catch-Up. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about this and to post your comments in the comments area. And we will come back to the comments and the other questions that you have asked just a little later on in the catch-up. But here's your minute to think about your favourite teacher, your inspirational teacher. Okay, I am looking for your thoughts now. Either no one is sharing their thoughts, or there's some problem with the commenting system, because I'm not seeing anyone's comments at the moment. I'm hoping that means there's a problem with the commenting system here. Let me just double check. Sorry, I'm trying to see this. Okay, I think we're getting some comments through now. Okay. Right, so we've got Isabella saying, school was too long ago. I guess I would say then it would be you, Mark. Thank you, Isabella. I appreciate that. Malin from Sweden is saying, I especially loved my history teacher in middle school. She had so many stories to tell from history and more or less acted them out as she got excited and involved in telling them. And I think that's the key thing when someone is so excited about what it is they want to share. That enthusiasm is conveyed through what they teach, and that enthusiasm is very much catching. It's very much you easily pick up on the enthusiasm from someone else. Sandra is saying, I'm sorry to say I'd never had an inspirational teacher. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sandra. I hope at some point you get one. I hope you have an inspirational experience through our coffee break courses too. Looking back at our comments here, again, I'm not seeing... I've got Katrina on our team who is saying, Mr. Tom, a fabulous French teacher, he would sing the Marseillaise, though we could not sing it back to him being tone deaf, unlike him. And Mrs. Barr got Katrina to understand German grammar. Fantastic. Okay, right. I'm going to go back and go through some of the other comments from earlier, and perhaps that will give more people a chance to let us know who their inspirational teachers are. We've got Isabella joining us from Vancouver in Canada. Thank you, Isabella. Mahmoud saying, I'm Mahmoud. Hello, Mahmoud. Malin is joining us from Sweden. Sandra from Berlin. Debbie from Atlanta. Philippe is saying, hello, young people. Hello, Mark too. Thanks for that. Tassos is saying, sois Tassos de Grecia, muy bien. Carol's joining us from Canada. Fa molto freddo e piove. Oh, not so good. I saw it was 31 degrees in New York yesterday. I don't know whether it's going to be 31 degrees on Saturday, but hopefully it'll be nice weather when I'm in New York and in Boston. Sorsha is joining us from Ireland. Mahmoud lives in Turin in Italy. Carol is just back from a holiday in Italy. There was a fantastic weather and the food was excellent. Benissimo. Grazie mille, Carol. I hope you get the chance to use your coffee break Italian. Pam is saying bonjour, buongiorno, guten morgen. Coffee Break Academy is the best. Thank you, Pam, for that. Mahmoud is asking, perché non avete iniziati Coffee Break Arabic? So why are we not yet doing a Coffee Break Arabic? That's maybe something for the future. We're not sure about that quite yet, but perhaps in the future, Mahmoud. Leonardo is saying hello from Caracas, Venezuela. Muy bien, muchas gracias. And Ritika is joining us from India. We've got Sarah from Egypt. And then we've got Amy, who's in San Jose, California, and she was listening to Coffee Break German on the way to work today, brushing up on her college German for an upcoming trip to Frankfurt and Darmstadt. Fantastic, Amy. I hope that you enjoy your trip. Okay, let's look. We've got a couple more teacher comments. We've got Barbara. Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you today. When I was in grad school in 1975 for speech-language pathology, Carol Strong was a new, young, enthusiastic professor. She introduced us to the latest technology, the use of video to record therapy and sign language activities. 1975, remember. That's fantastic, Barbara. Good to know that you remember your teacher, Carol Strong. So here's to Carol. Thank you. Rakesh is saying, hello, namaste, bonjour, Mark. Not a school teacher, but a manager in a company that I worked in earlier advised me to let go whenever I felt frustrated because of things that are not under my control. And I suppose we can apply that to learning too, because very often it's difficult to grasp concepts. And sometimes when you're speaking a language and you're trying to get things right, sometimes letting go is the best thing that you can do, because you can just get on with it and speak, even if you are making mistakes. And here is a comment from someone we know very well, and that is Francesca Perazio from Coffee Break Italian. So Francesca's watching in the office today. Salve, ciao. I'll never forget my teacher of Russian interpreting at uni, the most amazing and inspiring teacher ever. So clever, but still so humble, approachable, and always there for the students. And that is Prof. Straniero. Fantastic. Grazie mille, Francesca. Thank you. Okay, so if you're posting after the event, if you're watching afterwards, then make sure that you post your comments about your favourite teacher, your inspirational teacher, because we'd love to read these. And I'm sure even if they don't read them, your teachers will know somewhere that you're thinking of them. Okay, let us move on to the final segment of our catch-up today, and that is, of course, our cultural roundup. So we're back with our cultural roundup for today, and if I just bring in these slides again, that's our work experience week. I'll take that out. So our cultural roundup starts in Italy, and we're going to the town of Courmayeur in the Alps. And we're going to a very strange event. It sounds a great event, actually. This is a race which involves grabbing beer at tables rather than water. So you're running along and you grab beer as you're running. So it's the Arrancabirra Festival, and you can find out more about that in our catch-up newsletter that's coming out tomorrow. So that's on the 5th of October, which will be Saturday. We've got in Spain, in Tarragona, so in Catalonia, we've got the Concurs de Castells. And this is where there are human towers built by people. So people basically climb on top of each other and form human towers. And that's the festival that's happening this coming weekend in Tarragona, beautiful city in Spain. Heading to Germany, we've got the Filmfest Hamburg, and that's already underway, and it finishes this Saturday. So if you're interested in film and happen to be in Hamburg, then check that out. And of course, we'll finish with French, and in Paris on Saturday, we've got the Nuit Blanche. Now, the Nuit Blanche is when places you wouldn't normally be able to access in the evening are open all night, so to allow you to experience nighttime in these places. So some really interesting places there. And if you'd like to find out more about that, and indeed all our cultural points, our cultural ideas for this week, then all you need to do is subscribe to our Radiolingua catch-up newsletter. You can do that at radiolingua.com even, /newsletter. And in the newsletter, every week, we provide articles in both English and the language that you're learning about these cultural events. So we'll link to the main site of the cultural event, and you can find out a little more about that in the language, or indeed in English if you're not learning that language, if that makes sense. So radiolingua.com/newsletter to get that. And that goes out on Fridays. So tomorrow you should get the newsletter. There's time to sign up for tomorrow's newsletter. So just head over to radiolingua.com/newsletter and sign up there. Now, while I've been talking, there's been a few more comments. First of all, Carol saying, "Ho parlato italiano durante la mia visita in Italia, grazie Coffee Break Italian." So Carol did speak some Italian when she was in Italy. Thank you, that's really good to know. Isabella wants to sign up for that race. We've got Farid who's saying, "At school we had an English teacher from the USA and we always played games and watched movies in English. She was such a great person who contributed to my English so much. Irene Ryan, we miss you." Oh, that's great. Thank you, Farid. Now, this, I'm not entirely sure who this was because it's one of our team, but they've posted within the French Coffee Break page, so I think they're logged in as Coffee Break French, so I'm not quite sure. I'll see if I can work it out from the story. My most memorable high school English teacher was Steffi. She taught me how to write and express myself in English every week for 5 years. She's the reason I'm here studying in Glasgow. She helped me build my confidence and apply to study in the UK. We still catch up every now and then, and I know I can ask her anything English related or general life advice. I think that will be Sophie who posted that, so merci beaucoup, Sophie. I think that is all our comments. Yeah, all our comments for today. So as I say, if you are watching later, if you're watching the replay of this catch-up video, then you're very welcome to post your stories of your favourite teachers, of the teachers who inspired you in your learning, and we'd love to hear more about that in the comments. That is where we're going to leave it for this edition of the Coffee Break Catch-Up. There won't be a Coffee Break Catch-Up next week, certainly not a normal Coffee Break Catch-Work. I can't talk this week. There won't be a normal Coffee Break Catch-Up on Thursday next week because I will be at the Sound Education Conference in Boston. If I can, if I've got good Wi-Fi, I may try to do a sort of informal one, just from my phone or something like that, and we can update you on what's happening there in Boston, but I'll also try to keep you updated on Instagram, so make sure you're following Coffee Break Languages on Instagram. Oh, one final comment from another of our colleagues, and that is Monsieur Pierre-Benoît Herriot. Monsieur Maury was my English teacher in S1 or 6e in La Roche-sur-Yon in Vendée. He was a very kind and enthusiastic who passed on to me his love of the English language and the love for languages. Parfait. Bon, merci beaucoup, Pierre-Benoît. That's it for this episode of the Coffee Break Catch-Up. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoy the coming week. As ever, I will say thank you and goodbye in another language. We might as well go to Luxembourgish this week, because as you know, 1 Minute Luxembourgish is now available on YouTube. And if I remember correctly, in Luxembourgish, you can say merci, or you can say merci vielmals, and goodbye is adi. So I will say adi, and as ever, happy coffee breaking.